Hello and welcome back
Hello.
to a very special segment with actor Scott Evans. Hello, Mr. Evans.
Hi, how are you? You guys have martinis. I have like a glass of water. Why am I being responsible?
Oh no! Listen, get yourself a drink if you need to.
Well, where are you?
After this, I'll probably need a few.
If you're on the West Coast, it's not happy hour yet, but on the East Coast, it's been happy hour since
time zones aside, every hour's happy hour.
Right.
During
Makes
quarantine.
no sense anymore. Yeah, especially quarantine.
So how is quarantine going for you?
It's kind of been kind of all over the place, especially right now, because while I'm like still feeling, I'm like, we're all like still doing this, right? And everybody's like, oh, kind of. It's like,
right.
I see people post like videos and like people that I think are responsible that I'm like, didn't you post yesterday, like wear a mask? And then they're like at a party with like 40 people and they're like, but it's my family. And I'm like, that are virus carriers. Like, and if you're gonna do it, don't post about it. Like at least
right.
Respect, because everybody's opinion of you is tanking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, also just don't do it because just don't.
It's not worth it.
What did I just see this morning? There was a giant party last night in like the Hollywood Hills, like hundreds of people that like the cops went to, but like couldn't shut down. And then somebody ended up shot.
Like, three people. One person was fatally shot, right? And then three more were like injured. And I'm just like, what happened? Like, what are
y'all doing?
Listen, if the virus doesn't scare you from a party, hopefully a gun would.
Right.
Hopefully.
That leads into a whole other debate. Which
Right.
I'm happy to have.
Right.
I'm happy to have.
Right.
So Scott, we watched Almost Love on Netflix, and it is just so cute.
Yes, I loved it. So relatable. I loved it.
Listen, I got like a bunch of texts from friends. They're like, ooh, you must be making a nice check from that. I'm like, no, that's all in the contract. That's not.
So give us the 411 of like how you got started to become an actor, a working actor.
Growing up, like my older sister started doing theater at like a local a children's theater, and I think my mother. There were like four of us, and I think it was kind of an easy thing for a carpool. She always said, she was like, I can't be dropping people off at all these activities. So she was like, Chris and Scott, like go do it too, and we kind of just fell in love with it. And the funny thing is from an early age, like I was. You can't tell now, but I had like this boy soprano, like beautiful child voice, and like the girls really liked it. And for me, I was like, oh my God, I can get girls. Like little did I know, it's like that's not what I was hoping for. So it kind of just like it became like a thing where I started finding like-minded people and people that like were my friends from local towns that I really got along with. All my friends in school were like, the jocks and everything. And I played sports too, but acting and theater was just sort of, my family was almost like the Partridge Family or something. It was kind of disgusting. And then getting into college, I realized, a boy who could sing, like auditioning for a school was for theater. Like they kind of really liked that a lot more. And I didn't necessarily have the best grades. I was smart, but I didn't do homework, so it screwed my GPA.
Yeah, street smart.
So, so I was like, oh, I guess I'll like audition, and then maybe if I get into a good school, I'll change my major. And then I just never did, and it kind of just ended up being the thing. And now it's like every day I cry about it. So.
Not cry.
Right there with you.
No, to prepare for my craft, you guys.
Right. You're a method actor, right?
Very method every night. Just.
I love it. I mean, so Scott, you and I actually have like a weird 10 degrees of separation. So you worked with a really close friend of mine, Eileen Kristen, Tom D and Gora, who are great friends of mine as well. First of all, loved Melange, thought it was great. Told Tom to cast me. Tom, I'm coming in. And also, you created the iconic role of Oliver Fish on One Life to Live. So please, did you know at that time how iconic that was going to be and what you were going to be doing for the LGBT community?
Honestly, like I had no idea. It was like literally my first legit job, and I was actually still finishing college at that point, and I got this, it was like 5 episodes playing this nerdy cop, whatever. And I was like, oh, cool. And I remember I had to like cut some classes to go film it. And I remember getting like kind of yelled at by teachers. They were like, you can't be doing that. And I was like, aren't we here to like eventually, do this for a living?
Right.
Yeah.
Shouldn't you be happy? And they were like, you really need to come roll around on the ground for 9 hours today and learn the phonetic alphabet. So anyway,
Stop.
don't even get me started. I think about it.
No.
Oh, thank God I did all those vocal exercises. And then like I did the 5 episodes and I was like, this is really cool. And then when they called me to come back, it just sort of started being more and more. And I had no idea. And then one day they were like, how would you feel if your character was gay? I was like, does it mean I'll get to continue working? I feel great about it. So
Right.
it became this thing, and like before I knew it, it was the first same-sex sex scene in like daytime television, just all this stuff. And then like my mother got to like play my mother on the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where that was going. Your mother, what?
No, it was.
Well, it was like the executive producer. The executive producer came to me one day and was like, oh, we're casting for your parents and we can't really find anybody. But like you said, your mother, has done shows and like runs a children's theater. And I was like, yes. And they were like, well, would she want to play your mom? And I was like, Like, I was like, can I audition her? Like, can I just like check this out? So I called her and she was into it. And man, it was, there's the experience can't be beat. Like we get to,
that's so Frank Valentini. He is pretty amazing. Ashley and I both have worked for him. He is that person. He said, you know anybody that could? And I'm like, we got a friend or two.
Like, it could work. Well, I remember like, it was like my big like coming out scene and she was supposed to be this like conservative parent. And I'm like doing the scene, whatever, and she's like getting all like whimpery, and they were like, cut. They were like, Lisa, like you don't be sad about this. And she was like, but this is my baby. And I was like, oh, this is it's acting.
It's therapy. It's therapy.
Trust me. Well, because when I came out to her in real life, it was like, she always says that I said, I think I might be gay. And she was like, oh, can you pass me a napkin? And I was like, oh. Is that it? Like, she says that from birth, like she gave birth to me and was like, oh yes, I got a gay one. So,
oh, you're so lucky.
I came out with jazz hands. And I was
Right.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
I love it.
So being a gay actor in the industry, have you come across any roadblocks? Like, I hate talking about it, but we should talk about it, right? So have you experienced any setbacks at all?
You know what's so crazy? First of all, I will say, I love the way you phrase that question because so many people will like, when this topic comes up, they'll just be like, when did you decide you wanted to be an out actor? And I was like, there was never, for me at least, a time where I was like, do I want to be an out actor? It was like, I want to be an out person.
Right.
I never even considered like what it might, do to a career. Granted, this was decades ago. So you didn't have like the internet to like see all these stories. And I think the only thing I'd heard at that time was something like Rupert Everett being like, stay in the closet if you want to get jobs. And I was like, okay, this isn't a big deal. Yeah. But there have been a ton of roadblocks about it because you kind of get pigeonholed in something. And it's sort of like, people forget that it's acting. So we should be able to do this. And it's gotten better in terms of the writing and the projects and the parts for the LGBTQ plus community. But like the problem is now I'm not getting called in to audition for anything but those. And it's and it's like, okay, like thank you for casting gay actors in gay roles most of the time. But at the same time, I also like we should be auditioning for everything. When a straight guy gets a gay role and kisses a boy, it's like, how brave. Let's give him an Oscar. So it's
very that.
Are there
Meanwhile, I was on like Law and Order making out with a girl and nobody gave me an award. Come on, that was tough.
We'll give you an award. We'll give you an award.
Thank you. Best straight girl kiss. She was a lesbian too, so we really had to try.
Wow, you were real stretched.
Right.
I don't think it was very convincing, but
Well, speaking of acting, you were also in Midnight Kiss, which is on Hulu.
Yeah.
Which I loved. Wow. First of all. But second, you work with Augustus Prue in both Midnight Kiss and Almost Love.
I did.
And I love that. So how did you two meet? How did that like bond start?
Should that tell the audience something?
Well, the funny thing is we said that we were like, it's becoming our thing to like, work together over the summer. But when we first did, God, it was like, what year is it? What day is it? 2018 is when we shot Sell By, and it was the first time I'd ever met Augie, and he's fantastic. And after that all happened this past summer when Midnight Kiss was happening, I was auditioning, which originally the script, 2 days before the whole script changed, I was originally like the murderer of everyone and not just like the crazy murderer. But I remember when I got the offer, I got the part, and then the casting director was like, we have an offer out to somebody else for Cameron. And I was like, who? And they're like, well, we can't tell you, but you've worked with them before. And I was like,
wink.
And I was like,
Jane Fonda.
But I'm going through, and I was like, so it's either Augie or Matt Bomer. But I was like, if Matt Bomer's doing Into the Dark, that's a bigger problem.
Wait.
Show, but he's better than me.
That's not
gosh.
Oh my God, can we edit that out? I'm gonna cry.
I love it.
Wait, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna, okay. So one thing I did love about Midnight Kiss was that it was a horror film, a queer horror film, but that wasn't hokey pokey, and it wasn't like the gays were like the butt of the joke or something like that. It was just, it was a group of friends just being, and then we're set in this scenario. And I love that, is that when like people actually make art, that it's just like, we're just living, this is what being gay is. It's not anything new or anything, crazy. So that's one thing I did love about it.
Well, I'll tell you, like the crazy thing is just like when we were shooting, it's about a group of friends at a weekend in Palm Springs, and there's one girl, which is true to life, and she's there and she knows everything
Hello.
going on. And
I am the one girl.
There she is, which is great. That's what we need. I have multiple, but this is like a typical thing. And I remember watching it on screen and just being like, this is literally like what, a group of friends, gay friends will sit around and do. The thing that was so crazy for me that I never even realized before is being on that set, the days when we were all there, all of the actors, aside from Aiden, were gay guys. And the director was a gay guy and the writer was a gay guy. And so like, instead of kind of on most sets being maybe the one gay guy, maybe the two, maybe, you always pray, like hair and makeup, like, come on, that's like, we'll get somebody there, please. But this was just like a set of gay people, and it was so exciting. It felt different. It felt nice to make the key grip uncomfortable every now and then, making stupid jokes, being like, this is our house now. But I think
I love to see it.
Well, when you see gay actors casting gay roles, it's, people get the pat on the back now, but it's like, I don't mind anybody playing any part, but for now, I guess now that, there is the more inclusion and more gay characters and gay storylines being written, like, let us play the parts for now.
Yeah. I loved it. I agree with Adam. I was watching the scene where y'all are all in the club and I was triggered. I said, wow, isn't that a night of us going out of New York City? Y'all are like, Molly's here. And I was like, let's go. It was so fun. I loved it.
Trust me, like being there when they were like, and action, it was like lights and glitter. And I was just like, oh my God, I just think about my 20s and I'm so happy that I can't remember any of it.
I think about 2019. I think about 2019.
Yeah. Oh my God, now if somebody invites me out, I'm like, out? Please, why? Can we stay home? I
don't want to do it.
Right.
It has to be a special night.
Birthdays now.
Yeah, it has to be a special night, and I have to like already have a few drinks with me before I go.
Oh, absolutely.
No pandemic.
Well, since we're still on this little horror film kick, I just have to ask, what is your favorite scary movie?
My favorite, listen, I'm a horror fan. I am a scary movie fan.
Yes, we are too.
I had, when I was just, I was quarantining, I went back east and spent like 2.5 months with my brother, and we had this big whole list of movies. And there are like some movies that I always like, if they come up in conversation, I'll be like, oh, that's a favorite. And they're like, you know, mainstream ones that I should have seen and I just haven't for whatever reason. I'd never seen The Exorcist. And he was like, we have to watch it. And I was like, okay, but like, will it hold up? And it held up. It
so
was
good.
terrifying. But of late, I just watched You Should Have Left. And with Kevin Bacon and Amanda Seyfried.
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched that one yet. I've been meaning to. It's on our list.
We'll watch that.
Well, yeah, you could probably take it off the list.
Okay. I didn't want to talk, but that's what I heard, which is why I hadn't watched it yet.
Like, it was fine. The trailer, like, there was like one moment in the trailer that I was like, ooh, that's what this is going to be about. That's cool. And then, like, by the end of it, I was like, what was that about? Like, what?
That's the worst.
Oh, no.
That's how I felt about It Follows. Do y'all remember that?
Adam
No.
hates It Follows with a passion.
Okay, wait. So It is another one. I had never seen the original of It, and I went to see the movie like in the theater, like the first, whatever, the remake or whatever. And I didn't know what it was about. In my mind, it was like this guy in a sewer, like luring kids down. I thought it was going to be like a kidnapping, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I didn't realize it was like sci-fi, and there was like blood all over the bathroom, and he was like a giant thing with arms, and I was like, all right, well, that's what that is? Okay.
I will say that the original It with Tim Curry
Scarred me for life.
will hold true to fashion, and that's a little bit more terrifying.
Yeah.
What they did with Bill Skarsgård, who did a great job, by the way, was a little bit more campy.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, and that's what I've heard. I will say about scarring, though. I saw somebody posted a tweet. They were like, "What scary movie did you see like too early on that scarred you for life?" I saw Misery with Kathy Bates.
We just watched that recently.
That reaction. Oh,
Yeah.
Trust me, but I was.
It's the
Academy Award winning.
Like,
9 years old. I was 9 years old with my father and my older sister, and like we started watching it, and I literally spent the whole movie kind of just looking at my dad, being like, "Hey, Dad, like, would Mom let me watch this?" And he'd be like, "Yeah, absolutely." I was like, and then like 10 minutes later, I'm like, "Hey, Dad, like, are you sure?" And now I can't even look at Kathy Bates. You know, just my penguin always faces due south. It's like, I know you've been out, Paul. I feel so scary, breaking the ankles. It's too much.
Oh,
it's
no,
it's
so
so
I'm more into
it's
those
next level.
like psychological thrillers rather than all the bloody.
100%.
Yeah.
Psychological. I mean, I love murder. It's such a creepy thing.
Speaking of psychological, how was your experience on Grace and Frankie?
Psychological, like, how's therapy going? Grace and Frankie, I mean, it took, I think the very first day that I worked there, you know, not in like a messed up psychological way, but the first day, my first day of work was with Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, Martin Sheen, and Sam Waterston in a room. And I just like was just sitting there thinking like, what have I done to deserve this? Like nothing. This is a joke. Like am I going to be fired? How am I here with these people? And it took every ounce of my strength to not quote 9 to 5 like the entire time. Yeah.
I wonder how many
like,
times you heard that.
That was like I'm sure that's why I didn't. And then my mom was like, "Don't do that, but tell Jane that I had her workout record." And I was like, I'm right on top of that, Mom.
Right on top of that, Rose.
Yeah, well, another classic.
Classic.
So it was a good experience.
It was
it's
unbelievable.
one of my favorite shows.
Well, not only like was it unbelievable, but it was just like one of those things where I was showing up. It was like, this is. I was just so grateful, and then just, you know, with like Marta Kaufman, just these people working with these people, and then the next year to get a call and be like, "Hey, we want to bring you back," just to be like, "Oh my God," like just kind of panicking, and freaking out. And now people are like, "Are you going to be on the next one?" And I'm like, "You guys know." So just,
you know, funny story. I actually met Sam Waterston maybe a few years ago. He did a play in Connecticut. You went with me with my former boss Shirley Knight, R.I.P. She was wonderful. Yeah. They did a play, The Old Masters.
Yeah,
and it was really good, and he was a sweetheart. He was such a sweetheart.
He is like literally the nicest person. Him and like Martin Sheen too was just like, I'm the kind of person, if they're like cut or like break for lunch, I'm just like, I have work to do in my trailer. Like I like to go hide and, you know, not stress about talking to people. But Martin like never disappeared. He would just be on set, just chatting with people. Like every other day on set, he'd be bringing in like tour groups that he reached out to and is doing like a backlot tour for people. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. How do you guys do this?
It's crazy.
Just like so sweet. And then like, Lily, there was just one scene where she just kept making me laugh, and it was really impossible. Not be like, she just would just say different things each take, and I was just like, I need to keep it together. It was just, you know, overall, it was an insane thing to work with like these legends. President Bartlett,
legend. And quick shout out to Martin Sheen because his birthday was a couple days ago. Happy birthday,
my God!
Sheen.
We text him, but I don't have his number. So.
Do you want me to share the contact with you?
Well, yes. Oh, please.
I'll share.
Okay, Brayden. Try to flex.
Funny story about that. I took a picture with him and I posted it on whatever social media. And my cousin's daughter, who was like probably like 13, 14 at the time, her reaction to the picture said to my cousin, she was like, "Oh my God, who is that? Is that Scott's new boyfriend?" Like the picture with me and Martin Sheen. And she sent it to me and I was like, that's hysterical, egg, because she has no idea who he is because she's 12.
I hope you said yes.
Yeah, she'd be like, yep.
Well, I showed it to him and he thought it was hysterical and he was like, tell her yes. But it was just like, is that Scott's new boyfriend? And I was like, who does she think like I'm dating? What? Like, right? But like, I wish.
They always think that at the beginning, like I have family, any time I take a picture with another man, they don't care if they're gay, straight, they're like, is that your boyfriend? And I'm like, everybody I take a picture with ain't my man.
Right.
I sometimes wish they were, but no.
That's also like every friend you have that lives in a different city, like has a gay friend you have to meet and you'll love them. And I'm like, is it the one gay person you know? Because like, of course they're going to be the best. Of course you're going to love them.
Right.
And they never are. So.
They never are great at all.
I can't.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have Midnight Kiss, which is on Hulu. You have Almost Love, which is available on Netflix. What's next? Like, what with quarantine and everything? What does like moving forward look like for you?
Besides, get started on Pride the Series.
Right.
This is like the most. I'm telling you, like showering. I got a haircut yesterday for this. I was I'm like doing something, and then I was like, how long is this gonna be? Can we sit here all day? It's so strange. I'll tell you. Like in the beginning, it was sort of like a. Having a conversation with my brother, and he's like, "Oh man, like what is gonna happen? Like, am I not gonna work this year?" And I was like, "I think you'll be fine." I was like, "This is how I spend most years before like I get a job." And so it's kind of a thing where like, over the past like 4 months, I think I've had like 1 or 2 auditions, and they're aiming for May. This is like in April, and I'm like, okay, good luck with that. And it's just like the more people can't follow rules, I think the longer it's going to be. And productions that are starting to like, I guess, start back up again and like do something, it's just that it's inevitably going to be like that first school that just opened, or like the school districts in Georgia that opened, and now there's already like 260K.
I'm doing a project with anyway.
It's just like I don't even know like how to explain it, but like not only like before pandemic life, it was like, when's the next job gonna come? Like the auditioning life and trying to get work and everything. And now it's sort of like, I don't even know when auditions will come to try to get the jobs.
Right.
And I know people are like, trying different ways of doing it and dropping off equipment at people's houses. And first of all, if that ever happened, they're like, here's the camera. And I'm like, where's the tutorial? Like, this won't happen.
I need a DP.
I need something. Well, like hair, makeup. Come on, please help me.
I know.
Help me.
Same.
So we'll see.
Ashley and I are like low key makeup artists, so you can just
you can just call us. Call me.
Right.
Well, I will say my hairdresser, my friend who cuts my hair a couple weeks ago when I was like, okay, I need to get a haircut. And I texted him, he's like, ooh, I just tested positive yesterday. And I was like, oh, no. I was like, so how long is that? Like, and then he was like, well, I like just got the negative test also with the rapid one. And I'm like cutting hair with like a shield. And I was like, oh, no. Like, I don't need it that badly. Like,
I saw online that your brother Chris had cut your hair.
That was when we were home. I've always been like against like shaving my head. For some reason, I had it in my head that like I have an oddly
weird head,
shaved head. Right. And so then I was like, I'm gonna do it, and like I did it, and then he had to like come in and fix it. And the next morning, all of a sudden, I was getting like, you know, any day I wake up and I see like an excessive amount of like new followers or new comments, I'm like, oh God, I cannot. What happened? What now? What I do? It was like headline news. It was like, oh my God, Chris Evans is a barber too. Like, is there anything he can't do? And he like trimmed it up, like wall clippers reached out and they were like, oh my God, can we use this video? And I was like, are you gonna like offer me like some free clippers at least? Like,
right, like hello, it's my head.
Like, what the hell? Yeah, exactly.
That is so that
like,
I love it.
Really. Well, so I was like, that was like a fun little shaved head experience. But now it was, you know, I went there to get my haircut yesterday and he's sitting there talking about, he's like, oh, I just went away this weekend with some friends. And I was like, stop. I was like, you already got it. Can you stop hanging out with friends?
Need my haircut.
Such a nightmare.
Well, I'm glad you finally got your haircut.
You look great.
You look good.
Friend.
Hey, you should have seen it before. It was a mess. It was a nightmare.
Why?
But what am I doing? Like, where am I going? I'm not going.
That's my
anywhere.
thing. Is like, do I need to call my plastic surgeon to get the lip plumps, the Botox? No, because I'm not going anywhere.
Well, thank God for wigs for me, you know.
I bet I have more wigs than you do. I'm just saying. They're not as nice as those, but I got them.
I would like to see that.
I have to keep my head edged up because I'm losing my hair, so it's just got to stay low and edged. I keep this on the case.
When like my friend got sick, they were like, well, you can like find another friend to cut it. I was like, well, no, like he knows my head and like the spots, he's got to keep it a little thicker. And like, which ones? And he won't like judge me. He'll never hold up the mirror at the end to make me see like, oh, thank you for showing me my scalp.
Yeah, they do that all the time. They're like, look at the mirror. What the fuck? Yeah, great. It looks good. Fine. I see a bald spot. Thank you.
I'm looking at it from the front. I'm like, yeah, I like the cut. They're like, and the back. And I'm like, get it out. I like to see that.
I've used everything and I'm over it. I'm just gonna be like a bald head person. It's fine.
You'll be
That's
fine.
Like me. I tried everything. Well, I've tried everything, and like I see those commercials. They're like, so I was losing my hair, and I'm like, and it worked for you. It's like,
yeah, it's not meant for us. We'll just be bald together. It's
well,
fine.
I mean, in like 5 years, when it's like really going away, they've got to have like something. I see like those things are sticking on scalps now. That I'm like, okay,
yeah, you can get a lace front.
I'll do whatever.
You heard that right from the podcast. Scott Evans will do whatever he needs to do.
Yeah, somebody call me. Maybe wall clippers can like help me out.
Well, we are calling you. We would love to actually have you come join us on Pride Season 3 once we are back in production and doing COVID safe.
Right.
I am down.
Yes, I love it.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us and making us laugh. This has been so much fun.
Yes.
I didn't know you were also a comedian.
That's why I was like, should we announce you as actor, producer, comedian? This is really pretty.
Listen, I make jokes, but it's mostly at the expense of myself. So
hey, you know,
those are the best times.
Whatever works.
Oh, Ellen. I don't know about Ellen right now.
I don't know about Ellen. I don't know if she.
We're all like so afraid. We're like, she's outside. She's gonna.
Ellen, great.
Wonderful.
All right, Scott. Thank you so much, and for our listeners out there, be sure to check out Almost Love, available on Netflix.
Yeah.
And Midnight Kiss on Hulu.
Yes,
Mhm.
Hulu.
And also check out Melange. It is still trending on Logo TV and on YouTube. Please check it out and support that as well.
Oh my God, it sounds like I work all the time.
You're on multiple networks.
You
You're all
are.
over.
Okay.
And they can also go watch old episodes of One Life to Live, also available on YouTube.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes, they are.
That's NBC.
Same thing.
No, it's ABC. Whatever.
Whatever.
Tell our listeners where they can find you, Scott.
Yeah, on social media and
Your address.
yeah, your actual address.
We're showing up.
Give it to me now.
On Instagram at Scott Evans Graham, and oh my God, on Twitter, I think it's the Scott Evans. I think I should know that.
We'll figure it out.
We'll make sure to post
We'll
it and
confirm.
everyone will see. We'll confirm. I mean,
You're the
chances
best.
are we're already following you. So.
You're the best.
Thank you, Scott. Be
Thanks,
safe.
Thank you.
You guys. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.